Hey everybody, this is Caesar with Small Engine Velocity, coming at you with a build video, a custom piece that I've had on this Ruckus before, and there's actually a whole video about it. I'll link it up here if you want to see the old video. But now I lost that bracket, and I want to put the front fender back on my Honda Ruckus. So now with the current tools that I have, I went ahead and started to go ahead and come up with a plan to make a new bracket. Now, if you're watching this video, I made 2 sets of brackets. If you watch this entire video all the way to the end and leave a comment below and a like, then you will be entered for the drawing for the extra bracket that I made, totally free. It'll just be the bracket, no hardware, but it will be 100% free. Whoever wins, it'll be a week from today. Whoever wins, I'll leave a comment on their comment saying that they won and that they need to contact me. Good luck. And it came out pretty good, so you should be happy. All right, let's go ahead and roll that intro real quick. Alright, so the first thing that I had to do when I created this new bracket was create a basic template. I used cardboard, like most people do, with at least getting the holes exactly where they need to be. I could always adjust it later, but I didn't know exactly how the bracket needed to fit inside of there, so it just made a basic L-shaped bracket. The next thing I did was I took it into Fusion 360 and went ahead and took those dimensions and drew them out. And then after that, I went ahead and made the G-code with, what's it called? Sheet cam. Yeah, sheet cam. The G-code. G-code is what gives the instructions to the CNC plasma to make the cuts, how to make the cuts, where to enter the cuts, where to exit the cuts, how fast to move, not how hot, but, you know, the basic movements of the plasma around the piece of sheet metal. Once I got it completed, I went ahead and imported the code into the laptop that's designated for the CNC and went ahead and started to cut. Now, I went with stainless. It's a little bit softer, but it's easier to work with, especially if I'm beta cutting something. This is the same material that I used for the windshield, so I know it's pretty good. There's a little mistake in the G-code. I don't know if you noticed, it turned on for a second and then stopped, and then tried to cut again, but because there was a hole there, it couldn't cut. So there was a mistake in the code, but that's okay because this is a test fit piece. And then I let it cool in the water in the bath underneath it. Once I took the parts out, I went ahead and did a test fit on the axles. So I took the axle nut off and then fit it on there. And from what it looks like it works pretty good. It doesn't interfere with anything, and it looks like it can mount down pretty good. So I took it to the fender, and that's where I had some problems. The metal around the top hole was too wide or too thick, so it couldn't really line up with the hole very much. And then the bottom part of the bracket, you know, it's an L-shaped bracket. The bottom part that makes that bottom corner was sticking out, and I didn't really like that. And it didn't really look good from the front of the bike. So I went ahead and went to a redesign. If you look at this new design, I went ahead and narrowed the top out, kind of like a taper to the top, and then I slatted the leading edge that faces the front of the bike, so it's at an angle, sticks out less, and kind of looks cool on the bottom of the bracket. So I did the same thing I did before, went ahead and did the G-code, went ahead and imported it into the CNC and started the cut again. I made some changes. I took out the error that I had in the code, which was horrible. It's hard to notice this stuff sometimes when it's in there. Like, you drew an extra line and you left it there, and then it writes it into the code and makes its little cut, and you're like, oh, where did that come from? I also cut it slower, I cut it faster so that I get a better cut, and then I went ahead and widened out the holes in the top a little bit more so that there's a little bit more play for the fender, so you can do a little bit of those minuscule adjustments on there. I went ahead and did the test fit on the fender, and it looks like it fits right. You can line up the holes, there's a little bit play around the edges, so you can make the adjustments. I went ahead and test fitted on the axle. The axle worked out. It looked just like the one before, except for a little bit more refined, I guess is what I'm thinking. So as part of the process, before I do a test fit and mount it on permanently, went ahead and did a Brillo disc or a Scotch-Brite disc, and then kind of cleaned them off the edges, cleaned off the steel, and you can see the difference between the two pieces in their design. One is basic, one is a little bit more specific for what the purpose of the bracket was made for. I went ahead and mounted it on both sides. Went ahead and used the sliders, put the bolts on both sides, got it all lined up, and it looks pretty good. Looks like it was made to do exactly what it's doing right now. I had to buy some nuts. I had to buy some hardware. So I bought M6 bolts, some nuts, a lock washer for the outside of the fender, the part with the hex on the inside, and then a wide flat washer on the back to retain, because the hole that I had cut was bigger than the nut that I bought, so I needed to make sure that it was not going to slide through, and also give you a little bit of that play so you can kind of adjust it, center it, move it up, down, back, forward a little bit. Not a lot, but enough. And then I went ahead and installed the fender. Let's watch it. So the fender's installed now, and I'm pretty happy with it. It's a little higher than I thought it would be, but it gives it a little bit of clearance just in case. So let's go ahead and take a look at the fender. Now keep in mind, this is the old fender that I had, so it's a little bit scratched up. It will be painted or something, or eventually, or I may just get a new front fender. But here it is. Ta-da-da-da! So, in part of getting this to fit, I had to trim this piece right here. It wouldn't fit through here. It did with the stock tire, but it wouldn't fit with this 12-inch tire in the front, so I did have to trim it, and at some point in time, I'll clean this up. You can see the scratches here, but here's the hardware that I used. You can see the lock washer on the front side, and then you can't see the back. Here it is from the front. It fit right with the side over here with the caliper. And here you can kind of see why I flattened that edge on that bracket right here. So it didn't stick out like that. It kind of looked like it was part of there. Plus, this is already silver, and the rim is silver, and this is silver, so I decided to go ahead and just leave it there. I may powder coat it black or something later on, but, you know, it looks good. So there is the Honda Grom front fender on the Honda Ruckus. What do you guys think? Please let me know. Don't forget, if you're watching this video and you want this bracket, then you gotta stay tuned. You gotta watch this video all the way to the end, and then you gotta make a comment below about whether you like it, whether you don't, or if you have a question, any comment. It doesn't really matter. You could say comment if you wanted to. I hope you guys enjoyed and liked this. This isn't a video that everybody can make this bracket, but it kind of gives you the idea of how a part is developed. And maybe if people ask, I can make a run of these, maybe like a couple of dozen or something for sale, just to put out there. But anyways, if you want to win this particular set that's in my hand right now, leave a comment below, watch the video, and give it a like. Anyways, thank you for watching. And I will see everybody next time.